divorced when I was really young, and I didn't see my dad very often. My mom, sister, and I did everything together. They were my family. It was the three of us against the world. Whether we were traveling for a cheer competition or snorkeling at the Blue Lagoon, it always felt like an adventure, and I typically led the charge. I was a little bitty firecracker. One Sunday evening, when I was 12 years old, my dad dropped me and my sister off from one of those rare weekend visits with him. We began to giggle as we pulled into the driveway, excited to see my mom. I opened the door and walked inside. Immediately, I realized that something wasn't right. I looked around, wondering what was out of place, and then I saw it. The candle. On the counter, there normally sat a big red candle, but it wasn't there. I began to wander around the house, and I knew that something was really wrong. As I passed through the living room, my heart dropped. I saw the melted red candle wax on the floor that lined the hallway. It was going to my mom's room. I tiptoed around the corner. "Mom," I called out. "Are you in there?" Maybe she just had too much to drink. I slowly peeked around the corner and my heart sank. Then I realized it wasn't candle wax on the floor. I threw my arms around my sister as we fell to the floor. Why would she hurt herself? I tried so hard to make her happy, but it wasn't enough. She doesn't love me enough to be my mom, and if my own mom doesn't love me, no one ever will. In that moment, I began to believe that I don't matter. My mom lived, but the fire inside of me died that day. We never talked about that moment again. Things just went back to normal. Everything looked perfect on the outside, but inside the walls, we were empty people. Even my Barbie dream house mimicked my world. Everything beautiful from the outside, but on the inside there was no love, no playfulness, no connection. After that, I became obsessed with perfection, always trying to be seen and prove that I mattered. It changed how I dressed, how I acted, how I treated people around me. My mom always says, do it once and do it right. So I did. I built up the dream house, trying to make sure that everything looked perfect. Got the fancy car, the college degree, the perfect wedding to a handsome husband, and after years of trying, the beautiful baby boy. Everything was the way it was supposed to be. And sitting in that house, staring at that baby, I began to feel more alone than ever. I realized I hated my life. I hated myself. Everything around me felt fake. I didn't know how to love or be loved. I was scared to accept anything good from this world because I didn't believe I deserved it. I still felt like that 12-year-old girl living in a constant state of fear that at any minute my world would shatter. I would break again. I felt like nothing, I didn't matter. Everything inside that house was empty. There was no love inside of perfection. I needed to escape. I began to find ways to shut off my feelings, but never for long enough. They always came back. I became all-consuming, always wanting and needing to make myself feel okay, to feel whole for just 1 minute, constantly chasing the thought that more of anything would chase away the belief that I was never enough, that I never mattered. Eventually, in an effort to escape my pain, I made the choice to walk away from my life, abandoning my husband and son in the process. I gave up on everything good in my life and committed to living in oblivion for however long I had left. After months of not knowing where I was, my husband convinced me to come home. He said he wouldn't try to stop me anymore, but at least he would know I was alive. One evening, I was in the bathroom, barely conscious, and I heard those cries on the other side of the door. My son, the beautiful baby boy that I absolutely didn't deserve, was crying for his mom. The one thing I wanted more than anything in the world, I was ruining. Curled up on the bathroom floor, I broke. I looked up to the ceiling, yelling and cursing at God for my life. As I lay there, I realized I knew exactly what it felt like to be that child. My mind flashed to the day I stood outside my mom's bathroom, and I knew that my son would grow up with my pain. I was okay of letting go of my own life, but I couldn't be the person to steal his. I had become the thing I hated the most, and as gut-wrenching and heartbreaking as that moment was, it was the place where God entered my story. I pulled myself up off the bathroom floor and held my baby boy. I was determined to do better, to be better, and I had to find the courage to try. But I tried again, and I failed again, and I ran again. I was burning my world to the ground, destroying everything and everyone in my path. And in the midst of my destruction, there was someone that kept pushing me towards hope. Everything inside of me fought against it, until finally my fight had run out. With the last ounce of hope I had left, I finally agreed to give it one more try. Shortly after that, I found myself sitting on a picnic table, wrestling with the question, are you ready to turn your will over to God? Nope. I wanted no part of God. He abandoned me. He made me a monster. And then I heard a ding from my phone, and I looked down. My stepmom had sent me a song. It was called Fires. That little firecracker inside of me had to listen. So I pushed play, and in an instant, everything made sense. This is what I was always meant to walk through. God never left my side. I was connected, I was whole, and in an instant, a fire lit inside me. I began to see how everything connected to get me where I was in that moment. It was the first time I encountered God in a sudden and profound way. He was there with me at that table. Everything that happened, whether to me or by me, had purpose. I knew that none of it had to go to waste. I realized that I was just as worthy of love laying on the bathroom floor as I was sitting at the picnic table. I was never meant to be perfect. I've always mattered, and I'm worthy of grace. I messed up everything in my life. I was an awful wife and an even worse mother. But over the last few years, I've learned that I don't have to burn my world to the ground. When I was unable to love, I had nothing to pass on to my son. But once I accepted grace and love for myself, I became able to offer grace and love to him, just as he is. He is worthy and deserving of the love that I wanted so badly as a child. I would go to war for that baby. Because that fire exists in me, that fire can flow out of me to my family. Life was never meant to be Barbie's dream house. It's about sharing moments of growth and grace with the people God calls us to, whether a broken stranger or a beautiful baby boy. It's about passion and passing on the flame. No one deserves to feel like they don't matter. They deserve to be loved for who they are, to be given the chance to find the fire inside of them. Regardless of where we come from or what we've done, we are each worthy of grace. Today I choose to meet others where they're at and love them. Through the fire, we each learn that we are made for more. When I was young, I let the world steal my value and tell me that I didn't matter. But today, I let the Spirit guide me into a life of service and purpose. I have become a person that leads others to hope. I still struggle with the why of it all, the self-doubt and the fear that I can't do it, but I no longer get to quit or take the easy path. I choose to stand up and lead in the face of fear, because I know the people beside me are worth my best. I take on the responsibility that God has given me to love and to lead people. No one is too far gone. If I can claw my way back from hell to be the person I am today, God can redeem anyone. There are a million broken girls out there living in shame, waiting for someone to see them, to believe in them, and to offer them a path out of hell. So today, I take on the challenge of finding them and sharing the fire inside of me. Every day I wake up and remind myself that my pain is the starting point. I will continue to carry the spark to those around me, sharing with them the fire that lives deep within me. I will continue to move towards purpose through whatever pain comes my way. Today I know the fire lives inside of me and it never has to go out again.
Hell yeah.